Today's story starts with a family fight over money. A man in the crowd says to Jesus, "Tell my brother to divide the family inheritance with me." We don't get to hear the whole backstory. We don't know if the brother was being unfair. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But Jesus does not answer the legal question. He shifts the conversation and says, "Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." And then he tells a story, a parable. A rich man has a good year, and his land produces more than ever, so much more that it's too small for his barns, and so he makes a plan. Tear down the old barns and build bigger ones. Store it all, and then relax. Eat, drink, be merry. Take life easy. But God's voice interrupts the story. "You fool. This very night, your life will be taken, and then who gets all your stuff?" Jesus ends the story with a warning. So it is with those who store up treasure for themselves, but are not rich toward God. This is a story about wanting. Wanting stuff, wanting money, wanting control, needing to feel secure, wanting to have enough to never depend on anyone. And I can totally relate to it. I know this kind of urge. I need money. I want to be in control, and I want to feel secure. I want to be able to be independent. Don't you? Right? However, how do you feel about this when I say that this is a story about greed? The rich man in the story didn't steal. As far as we know, he didn't exploit his workers, nor did he commit fraud. He just did what our culture often tells us to do: work hard, save up, plan ahead, build bigger, take care of yourself, be independent. But the parable says that's not the point of life. We live in a time of hyper-consumerism. We are constantly told to buy more, to upgrade, to compare, to collect, to treat ourselves. It's okay to never feel content. And we know this story so well because we're living it. And it's not just about stuff. We also collect influence, power, control, titles, followers, likes. And yes, men often hoard power, but greed does not care about gender. Women, too, are pressured to chase status, to prove we're strong, we're smart, we're successful, to do it all, own it all, and smile. Greed is not just a flaw. It's a system. It's our system. And it's exhausting. So the question the parable makes me ask is, how much is enough? That's not an easy question. It lives in the tension between two realities. What's the minimum that we need? I have been wondering about that question lately, especially with the unfolding hunger crisis in Gaza. What is the minimum? To be able to live in safety? To have food, shelter, care? To be able to raise children and grow old? And in all these stages, to thrive, not just survive. Everyone deserves that. Everyone. 8 billion people on this planet. But then, what's the maximum that we can take, we should take? How much is too much? When does enough turn into hoarding? When does comfort become complicity? Complicity, sorry. I've spoken a lot of German lately. These are spiritual questions, but also political ones, and also economic ones, and ecological ones. So let's talk about our planet. While some build bigger barns, others live in drought. Fires burn, waters rise, species vanish. Climate collapse is fueled by overconsumption, fueled by a system that tells us we need more than we actually do. July 24th was Earth Overshoot Day. in 2025. Who of you has ever heard of Earth Overshoot Day? 2, 3, 3. That date marks the day in the year when we used up the ecological resources that the Earth is able to regenerate in the year. To give you a more speaking image, to fulfill our demand on the Earth, we would need 1.8 Earth in 2025. In 1971, we could still make do with one planet. This year, we need 1.8 planets. But we only have one. And the truth is, the people who have done the least harm often suffer the most. That's not just a crisis, that's injustice. So again, how much is enough? For one person, one family, one nation. Jesus isn't telling us to live in poverty, but he is saying, be careful what you chase. Because if you're not careful, that chase owns you. And this is where the Christian practice of renunciation comes in. St. Francis of Assisi is a famous person who practiced renunciation. He decided against his family's wealth. Renunciation means saying no, not out of guilt, not to be holy, but to be free. It's about letting go of what doesn't serve life. It's about letting go what doesn't serve life. Letting go of the need to prove ourselves, letting go of the illusion that more will save us. We don't need to own everything to live fully. We don't need to control everything to be secure. There are only so many things we can control in our life anyway. We are never in full control. That's an illusion. So what does Jesus mean when he says, be rich toward God? It means investing in things that last and that are life-giving. Like trust, like relationships, like justice, like compassion, like courage. It means spending our energy and our resources on healing, not just our own lives, but also the lives of others and the life of the planet. And it also means remembering that we're not immortal. We all die. We don't know when, but for sure we won't be able to take our stuff with us. But love will remain, kindness will echo, and what we give away will outlive us and grow. So today I invite you to ask yourself, how much is enough? For me, for my family, for my community, for the earth. And then ask, what can I let go of so someone else might live fully? Because in the end, being rich toward God isn't about what we own. It's about the bridges we build and how open our hands are and how wide our heart is and about how we love. Amen.